You are listening to How to Get Over Your Ex, episode number 241. Grieve together, dream together, the power of friendship in your breakup. Welcome to How to Get Over Your Ex, a podcast on getting over your ex without it just taking time. I'm your host, Breakup Coach Dorothy. Let's turn your pain into power and your heartbreak into happy. Hello, beautiful bravehearts. I am so excited. Today we have special guests, Lisa and Rachel. I am super pumped to have them on. They just graduated the Get Over Your Ex program, and their journeys were so fun to watch. And they were really kind of like besties throughout. And you guys didn't know each other before you joined, right? I didn't think you did, but
No.
okay. Yeah.
Mm-mm.
So they didn't know each other before they joined, but then they became really good friends throughout. And I just thought it was like such a beautiful example of community and how it was very supportive during a time like this. Even though their goals and kind of their outcomes looked a little bit different in terms like what it meant for them to get over their ex and build their bigger and better life. And I don't know, I thought it would be really powerful to have you both on together instead of doing individualized episodes. So I'm super pumped. I'll have Lisa, why don't you go first? Just introduce yourself, tell us a little bit about who you are, whatever you feel comfortable sharing. And then I'll go over to Rachel.
Okay. So, hello. My name is Lisa, like Dorothy said, and I'm 43 and I'm a mom to, I have a 12-year-old son. And I joined the program in February of this year. And I had gone through a breakup last year in 2023. And so I was probably about 6 months out of my breakup when I started the program. And yeah, it's so interesting. Like, as Dorothy, you were talking, it's like when I think about Rachel and I, we started on pretty much the same day. I think we joined the
Yeah.
program like at least the same week or the same day. And it's so true. Like, we have like different stories, different situations, but for whatever reason, like she and I connected early on in the program. And I'm so glad that we did. And so I'm excited to talk more about that. And I love that we get to do the episode together. This is really fun.
Yes, I love it. Rachel, go ahead and introduce yourself.
So my name is Rachel. Like Lisa said, I joined the program actually right after the 5-day training in February of 2024. So, yeah, it was very exciting because I attended Dorothy's 5-day training. My breakup also happened in 2023. So it was fresh on me, and I really wanted to get something going to help with my journey. So I signed up for the program after 5 days. And here we are 3 months later, done
Oh, here we
with the
are.
program. It's so crazy to say that. But yes, Lisa and I joined the same day. We started talking to each other in the Braveheart community and just established this really great bond. And then we started talking like almost every week, I feel like,
I'm
Lisa.
trying to
So
remember, like, I think I throw it out there or did you? I think I like commented on one of your photos and then I was like, oh, cool. I just remember doing that with a few people, just reaching out, like, oh, hey. And then, but you were the one who like initiated back with me.
yeah,
So, and it's funny now looking back because even though we had like different things that we were working towards, like we were very similar in the sense that like we were so excited to be there. We were so committed to the program and we kind of were approaching it in the same way. So that just felt really good to like have a partner to like go through
yeah.
the whole process with. Like Dorothy already walks you through like so beautifully, but we were able to, yeah, like be like little accountability buddies for each other
Yeah.
and just
No,
like,
and that's exactly, I mean, I think on our first call, I was like, let's hold each other accountable. I mean, we were totally in different life stages too, but like
yeah,
it's just so interesting to get to know someone who understands the concept so we can work through things together and talk through things and just be a partner and just talk through life really and talk through where we're at with the check-ins and coaching calls. So it's been really, really helpful. And I'm so glad to meet Lisa. It's great. We're going to be like lifelong friends here.
Yeah, we're totally pals, like for life. And the other thing that I was thinking about, like while you were talking too, was like, this is such a unique experience. So getting to have somebody to talk it through with, who's like also going through it, was so amazing, like so helpful.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah.
You two just summed it up beautifully. I mean, hello. Honestly, though, from the outsider's perspective, from my perspective, I just do believe both of you had very similar energy in terms of your approach to the program, which I think is always super helpful, right? Both eager to be there, both excited to be there. One of my favorite things, actually, looking back, Rachel, with you, was just your hesitancy around like even letting yourself believe that it was going to happen for you. You were like, yeah, I hope this works. Like, hope this, I hope this
Yeah,
happens for me. I
yeah.
hope this works. Which let's both of you, I want both of you to talk about kind of your experiences because they were differing things, but also similar. Rachel, let's start with you because we just love the boba tea example. And we keep
Yeah.
circling back and I use it for so many examples of things now, but what were
That's
some of the
awesome.
biggest things you were struggling with coming out of your breakup that you were wanting to work through?
Yeah, I think there were several things for me, is like allowing myself to accept and work through grief, which is something I've never dealt with before in my life. And even just seeing a breakup as a grieving situation, that in itself was like it was a moving journey for me. So that's number one. And number two was like accepting that I can go to places again. Like for me, it was hard for me to go to certain places, like the boba tea shop or certain restaurants or driving by things that felt like memories and I can't move past through those things. So, the program and coaching really helped me nail them. Like I actually went back to the park and I actually went back to the boba tea shop. And it was great. It feels so great to do that again. And that was really something I feel like I struggled with from day one when I signed up. And then when I said what my goals were, that's one of the things that I really want to do. And I'm continuing to do them right now so I can practice and commit and keep, building new experiences upon them.
So good. What was kind of your aha moment when it came to being able to do those things? Because I think it's like one thing to talk about the struggle. Like the struggle was, okay, grieving the process, going through
Mhm.
grief with the breakup, but then also avoiding. It was a lot of avoidance of these places because you thought these places, quote unquote, hurt you,
Mhm.
or would be really painful. I'd love to know what your aha moment was or what was kind of the turning point for you. And then how did you feel when you actually went and visited those places?
Yeah, I feel like the aha moment is that I can go to these places these myself and not make it mean there's something wrong about me or, that it has to be associated with pain. Like there's memories there, but I could also think of it as a very neutral circumstance of like I've been to this place before with my ex and I am also building new experiences for myself. It feels definitely very uneasy at first, but it's like that moment of like, oh my gosh, I did this. I can build new experiences. It's a neutral circumstance. Like it's there for me. It's not like I won't ever think about him. I think the previous me was trying to avoid of like, okay, I'm trying to like erase that memory and that's going to go away, but not really. It's still there. Like, let's be honest, it's still always going to be there, but it's more of a, how do I treat it? I'm just going to look at it. I'm like, okay, it reminds me of things, but like, I'm here to also enjoy my experience. And when I did it, it felt so it felt so great. Like it felt like I achieved like a huge, massive goal, and I want to keep doing it now to like challenge myself almost, and like go there and keep doing it to because I want to. So
It's very
Yeah.
freeing, right? To
Yeah.
recognize like I can have all of these circumstances. I can go to a place that I thought would create a certain kind of emotional reaction, and I actually feel almost neutral or indifferent to it.
Yeah, and I
Um,
want to say that we prepped a lot before I actually went. Like
mhm.
I remember doing maybe at least two breakup protocols for it, and we chatted through it before I actually went to those places. I was fully prepared. I was like, oh my gosh, something's gonna happen, but it turned out to be great. Initially went with a friend, and then I went myself. And then new things came up too, like unexpected events out of the blue, like, the person got my order wrong or something, like just new things came up, which is very interesting too to observe.
So good. I love that. I love it so much. And another thing that you brought up that I think we should really, I want to talk about with Bravehearts who are listening in is this whole idea of like not thinking about your ex. We talk about it a lot in the podcast. We work on it a lot in terms of the program. And I think one of the biggest common misconceptions is this idea of erasing your ex from your mind. Like, I am all for it, but we really don't have the ability to do, would it be a lobotomy? Right. And I know I talk about that in the podcast and in the program in terms of like, there's literally no way to forget something forever unless we have permanent brain damage. However, the first step to learning how to think about your ex less is getting really comfortable with the thoughts that you do have about your ex. And what I mean by that is kind of what Rachel was just alluding to around you don't have to make those thoughts mean anything. You don't have to do anything with those thoughts. You can like interrupt the thought feeling process of that and allow those thoughts to be there and feel almost like neutral and indifferent to them. And it's like not this big deal that you're going to this place that has memories of your ex. So I love that you brought that up, which reminds me, I want to bring this back to Lisa now. I mean, because one of your goals was to think about your ex less, right?
Yeah, my big thing that we coached on a lot was my wondering.
Yes,
Like,
wondering. Yeah.
mhm.
So why don't you tell us a little bit about what your biggest struggles were coming in, what your aha moment was, and where you landed?
Yeah. So I love the way you described that, Rachel. That was so good. Because another thing I think that she and I really share is we're really deep feelers. And oh, and like just kind of draw like comparing our two situations, like she was in a shorter term situation in her reason for joining the program, and I was coming off of a longer term situation. But like the deep emotions and feelings were there. So it was just cool to be able to like learn about someone else's experience, but like you go through so many of the same feelings. So in my past relationship, I mean, it was 12 years that we were together, and this guy was my everything. Like he was my best friend. Like we spent so much life together and growing up together. And so when we broke up, it was like I feel like this was truly one of my first real experiences of grief. And I remember when I joined the program, it was like, I just knew that I wanted to go through this process differently. Like I felt like there was a better way to go about it. And I just knew that like I wanted that support, which was ultimately why I decided to join the program. And so the grief, let's talk about the grief. It's so there's a lot to it. And like how do you go through that, like if it hasn't been modeled for you in your life in a way that like helps you feel better? So just learning how to do something like that, I feel like was step one for me. And the way that it like was playing out in my breakup aftermath was the wondering about my ex. I was wondering about him all the time. Like, how is he doing? Is he cool? Is he good? Does he hate me? Like, does he think about me? Are we ever going to speak again? It is like, what's he like on any given day? Because it's like you go from someone being in your life, you talk to them from the time you wake up until the time you go to bed, you share all of that together. And then like, where do I go with this now? Like, where do I go with all of this attention and focus? And so that was one of the things that I knew from the beginning of the program, like I really wanted to improve. And so we worked a lot on that. And I feel like I got coached repeatedly on that. And I think the shift for me occurred. Well, the first thing I want to say is it was not a perfect thing. It was not linear. It was like I'd make progress one week and then I'd go and then I'd be like, my desire would be like 10x the next week. Like it was such a roller coaster before I kind of started to realize that like what getting over my ex meant for me is like, I just really wanted to learn how to move forward, like how to move forward freely and fully in a way that felt good to me. And what felt good to me was like not hating this person, like not forgetting him and like erasing him from my memory. Like I wanted to bring all of that love and all of that beauty that he and I had, like, I wanted to bring that with me. I wanted to bring like the mess of everything with me, but still also like feel more empowered. So it's just like this crazy thing that Dorothy like walks us through is like, you get to make it into like something that's so unique and feels really good for you. And I think that that's like ultimately where I landed toward the end of the program was like, this isn't someone I want to forget or like never ever think about him again. But when I do, I just want it to be from a place that like feels good, like to me and my heart and like my nervous system. And, you know, it's something I still continue to walk through, but I just feel more like I know how to handle it now.
And I
Yeah.
want to say, like, on top of that, some of the tools that we learned, it's not just getting over your ex, it's like a lifelong journey of tools that we'll be using for our bigger and better life. Like, as I kind of think about my next step in my life, we're going to experience grief in some shape or form, and knowing that there is like this program that we went through is like, yes, it helps us get over our ex, but it's also things that we're going to use moving forward. And that's like things that I've learned in this program and in our coaching calls. That's like really important to me.
I love that so much. One of my favorite things too, Lisa, that you kind of mentioned was this idea of really making it your own. And that is so important. And I was reading through your final check-in actually this morning. I think it was this morning. Today's Monday, right? Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah. And I was reading through it this morning and I was just, you know, one of your, like you had a line in there that really just stood out to me around like my inner, you didn't even use inner, you said my Lisa knowing, meaning like I can be me and I know me, and that is going to play out in the rest of your life in so many forms of recognizing like, again, I know myself best and I get to be me and I get to process through this in my own, like you said, unique way, because I think it's just so different for every single person, right? Like, you know, Lisa's here saying, oh my gosh, I don't want to hate this person. I don't want to erase them from my memory. We, you know, grew up for 12 years together and we have, but just feeling good about when this does come up and not having this like significant mourning for the rest of my life or not being able to move forward because of that loss. That's huge. Whereas other people from different situations or different scenarios really want to feel vindicated or justified for what happened. And that is totally welcome and normal and okay and great for them, right? But it is just so different per person. While also, as you two saw, even the circumstances being so different, your experiences and the depth of emotion that you experienced was also very similar.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the amount of grief that we were both going through was very, very similar.
Yeah, both experiencing like being balls on the floor,
Oh yeah.
crying things out. Like, yeah, I mean, grief is not, it's not like we all get hit by it in our own ways.
Okay, so speaking of that, balls on the floor together. We're loving this, right? We're best friends moving through it. Okay, so tell me what's kind of the role of friendship and community when it came to getting over your ex, and how did it impact your journey? You've touched on it a lot already, but what else?
I think it's so like you can't even put a price on it because um it was so great to have, and not only, honestly, it's not just Lisa, it's the rest of the gals on the program in our cohort as well. Everyone's going through their own situation, but having a community to ask questions and check up on each other, and even like seeing people's progress and how they move through their models, how they like interpret certain things, like it really does help me as well. Seeing them on coaching calls, there's a lot of aha moments I got there too. I'm like, oh, that's right. I can take that away from myself, or written coaching in the Great Park community. So it's really not just me and Lisa. It's also like we're all here for the same reason. And we're here to cheer up for each other. And as for me and Lisa, like we talk every week. There's moments where like she said, I'm like curled up in a ball. I'm like crying. I'm not sure what to do. And there's moments where we cheer each other up and we are accountable for each other and like making sure that we're making progress. So it's a unique friendship that is very different from everything else because of the program and the models and all the tools that we learn together. We can all collectively share that. So it's honestly, it's beautiful. I love logging in to see everyone's progress, and Dorothy will do weekly check-ins, and there's so many, like, it's just seeing everyone's progress from different weeks is so, it lifts me up even when I'm in like not the progress that I want to be. So it's awesome. I don't know, Lisa, if you want to add on to that.
Yeah. Or even people's non-progress. Like,
Yeah.
some weeks there's progress and some weeks there's not. And it's like everyone just is like, we're all putting our like humanness on display in this little container. But okay, so I agree. It's not just like Rachel and I is already like such a huge blessing in itself. It is like you're getting to learn from everyone else who is in the program with you. But I will say, like, the thing that I loved about, because I don't think it's like, it's not necessary to have a buddy going through the program. Like you're taken care of regardless. And like it just worked out. Like obviously Rachel and I were meant to meet and meant to connect. But like the thing I found, and I feel like you and I would talk about this too, Rachel, is like there's something about like having a friend who you can like dream with and like talk about these bigger, better things that like you're just like, oh shit, am I allowed to like believe in this or whatever? Because I feel like in our regular lives, it's like sometimes the people that are in your life, like maybe they don't understand or get where you're coming from. So like being able to have a friend who understands that, or like we're kind of building these like similar beliefs, it's just so fun to be able to like, go back and forth and like cheer each other on in that way. And also like when you're going through a breakup or you're going through something hard, and I am totally one of these people, like sometimes you just don't know what to say. And I feel like when I was going through my breakup, like, I don't know that everyone in my life knew how to talk to me about it. And which I totally understand. And I was someone who like, I wanted to talk about it. Like I needed to be able to talk about it to somebody. Like I couldn't hold all this like emotion and all these thoughts and feelings in my head. Like it was just like something I needed to be like working out in real time in real life. And thankfully I was able to do that in the program. But then like, even with Rachel, it was just like a further, like, in between calls or whatever, like we could like have check-ins with each other. So that was like so, so huge. And the other thing I want to say too, like I was thinking about this the other day actually, is like with the whole community aspect and like coming into this program, like it's like an act of generosity, truly. Like if you're choosing to come in here and like share your story, like I was so inspired by people and just like what they would be willing to share. And I would get so much from it. And so I just see that as like just such this beautiful, generous thing that we get to like witness others people's transformation, like along with our own. Yeah, I love that so much.
I get giddy thinking about everything that you both have spoken about. It just like, I just remember, I remember starting groups, and one of my biggest like hangups to my coach was, I just don't know how our group's going to be as beneficial as one-on-one, or like, what if no one wants to share, or this, that, and the other. In the first group I did, I was blown away by the amount of healing that took place in the group setting and how quickly people had transformation because of the group instead of it being one-on-one. Now
Yeah. And I do want to say too, like I will like out myself on this. Like every time I would raise my hand to get coached, I was so nervous. Like I would get like butterflies, my heart would start pounding, whatever. But like there was just like I knew that like this is what I came here to do. Like I'm just going to do this because like I don't know what's going to come out of my mouth. 100% of the time I didn't. Like, you think you have an idea of what you want help with, but like you never know quite what's going to happen. But I mean, we have like a Dorothy obviously like walking us through that. So yeah, I just want to like throw that out there for anyone who like feels nervous or scared about that like group component. Like it's so normal, but like you can be scared and also like still get what you need from it, and like the support is there.
Yeah. I also love too, Lisa, that you brought up the watching people's non-progress. That was really good. I'm glad that you said that because it reminded me of one person specifically, which she hasn't agreed to be on the podcast or anything, so I'm not going to give any specifics, but it was really fun to watch that, where it was almost like you could see her hang up from the outside, and and it was week after week. She was so good about getting coached every single time stuff was coming up, and it was like week after week, and you're like, oh my gosh, I can't wait for the breakthrough. Like I know it's coming, but it is like week after week she's struggling with the same thing. And finally when the breakthrough happened, it was just like a huge group kind of like, oh, we're so excited situation because it was such a buildup. And from the outside, like you can see, I think that's the other thing too about, just being in containers with other human beings is you see the beauty in each other. Lisa sees the beauty in Rachel. Rachel sees the beauty in Lisa, and with the rest of the group. And and when you can see that, you're like, I'm in this group with amazing, beautiful human beings. What makes me think I'm any different from them? And if they can move through that, then I can also move through this. And it's just very powerful in that way, I personally think.
Yeah. The other thing that's coming up for me too is like, like it can be easy for your mind to want to like compare your progress too.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was like another like reminder that I personally kept having to like just remind myself like, okay, no, I'm just like, I'm going to stay in my lane. I'm like, just, like you have to like, there's like that trust component of that things happen for everybody in their perfect timing.
Which reminds me too of your whole, this is your inner Lisa knowing of like, Lisa has her own process. Lisa has her own timeline. Lisa is like her own setting. So I love that. Sorry, Rachel, what were you going to say?
I was going to say, we're all here for the same reason. Like we're all here to try to, get over our ex and build that bigger and better life. So like everyone's going to have their own journey and their own hiccups. Like, in fact, I don't think like if anyone had that super linear, which I'm sure there's great products out there, they're just like super linear, but like I love to see people I love to see Dorothy challenge beliefs. So that, because that's like such an aha moment for me too. Like when we dig into coaching, I'm like, so why do you feel that way? And like really challenging your beliefs and like the limited beliefs, that's like, oh wow, like I can really apply that to my own situation, and also like the bigger and better life. And now we're talking bigger and better life, not just getting over your ex, but like just like there's so many things in life that you could, we're so wired in our brains to think a certain way because of society's thinking, but like everyone's has their own progress. And I think it's just so beautiful to see everyone's progress, no matter what the circumstances. It's beautiful.
Bringing that up, Rachel, do you want to share anything about your bigger and better life that you're working on currently? You don't have to.
I won't name specifics, but I will say part of my bigger and better life is to move to a new city. And it's been something in my mind for actually the past couple years. And I think it really propelled, this program has really propelled me to help build that bigger and better life. So yes, there's like that getting over your ex component, but what I love about this program is also like when we shift into the last pieces of the pillar, we talk about what bigger and better life means for everyone, and it's different for everyone, right? But I get to create that for myself, and I also get to believe that I can do that, and also taking like specific action steps to get there. Like that is, and I'm currently doing that, which I feel like it's just it's remarkable. Like I'm taking those steps. It's gonna happen. And that's to say though, once I'm moved to this new city, it's not like, there's gonna be things that come up, but I'm gonna enjoy what's currently in the moment, and I'm gonna use the tools that Dorothy teaches us to move through potential new challenges. Because the reality is there's just gonna be challenges in life, and but we get to enjoy the moment and like make decisions that are best for ourselves, like for right now. And that feels great for me right at this moment. So
I just wish that I could play everybody just a snippet of her very first call so you can see the difference between how that was versus like the beginning
I'm
of 3 months
determined. I'm
ago.
really determined. Like I really moved through so many coaching calls, and like Dorothy, you've seen me like hesitant to being like super depressed to being like, okay, a little bit hopeful here. And but yeah, I mean, I'm very grateful, and I like, yeah, I'm
Now
just
you're like wise sage, Rachel, like calm and zen.
I'm
So
excited. I'm really
good.
excited.
Lisa, is there anything that you want to share about your bigger and better life?
What do I want to share about bigger and better life? I mean, something so simple that Rachel just said is like just enjoying life. I feel like it sounds so basic and so simple, but I feel like that was intertwined with like one of my goals when I started the program is like, I just felt that so strongly. Like, I just want to enjoy my life. Like, I mean, it just sounds so like, I feel like it sounds so woo on the one hand, but it's just like, I just feel like it's such a gift for me to like wake up every morning and like have this life to live. And when I was coming out of my breakup, it was like you're just feeling so terrible and so lost and so just sad and all of those things, obviously, which is beautiful in itself. But I just knew that that was kind of one of my driving factors is like, I want to just enjoy my life. And like, what does that look like? And now at this stage, like, what does that get to be? And it's so cool when you can like finally allow yourself to be in that space where you just like, what would I really want? Like the dreamiest dream version of it. Like, what would that even be? And just like letting your mind go there and writing things down. And like for me, like one of my big things that I wanted to tap back into is just like this playfulness that I felt like I had kind of lost. And so that also kind of became like a way for me to like direct all of that. So like all that focus and energy that I was putting into like wondering and like thinking about like, looking to my past, like I was like, okay, where do I want to like focus that now? Like, where do I want to place that? So anyway, like I knew when I started this year, like 2024 for me was going to be like a few different things. And I feel like the first thing was just like, I really wanted like healing in like a really genuine way, which was like me being able to join the program. Dorothy, like you helped me through that so much. Like I just feel so incredibly grateful for that. And then the other piece was just like, I want to be like the best mom that I can be. I want to soak up my life with my son. I want to, like, I'm entering this new phase of life with him where like he's now getting older and like we're not like partners in crime where he wants to do everything with me. So I'm just like, okay, like, how do I show up for him in the best way that he needs? So, like, that's new territory for me. And then the last like part of it, like as I was coming out of the program and just like thinking about like, okay, what's next is like just building like wealth for myself, like wealth in my life, wealth in my experiences, like wealth in what I'm able to like provide for my family. Um, so that's just been so cool to like take that and run with it and just like put that focus and energy now into something that's going to like blow my own mind with like what my life gets to be is kind of like the direction that I'm headed.
Yes, so exciting. I love it. All right. So just to wrap up the episode today, I just want to ask both of you, is there anything you'd like to share with someone who's possibly going through what you went through now? And now that you're on the other side of it, like what would you share with them?
Do you want me to go, Rachel, or do you want to go?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so I can kind of tie it into kind of what I was just talking about. Like, I just feel like our focus and our attention onto something is so precious and like something to be like cherished. Like, I truly believe that. And so when I think about people who like maybe are in situations where you don't feel that way, like I know like towards the end of my relationship, like I felt like I wasn't getting that. And it felt like so devastating to me, or just like it was just really hard. But I feel like what I realized was like I was needing to learn how to do that for myself, like how to like really cherish and adore myself, not looking to like outside factors. Like I was looking for other things to like provide that to me. And my ex was one of those. Like I was like relying a lot on him to like make me feel that special way that I wanted to feel, which he was really great at, but it was also like really exhausting. And so one thing coming out of it is just like, I feel like that's something so beautiful for us to like uphold for ourselves, is like knowing that where you put that is like, it's really, it matters. Like it matters. And so I think that like me being able to learn how to do that has been so powerful. Like I just feel like I feel in love, like whether I'm in a relationship or whether I'm not in a relationship. And so I just feel really excited about like where I get to place that now.
Yeah. For me, I would like totally agree with what Lisa had to say. Um, I want to say to those who are struggling or currently going through a breakup, like you are not alone. There are tons and tons of people out there going through the same thing as you, and there's resources available for you. This is not the end of your journey. Like it could feel so heavy. Like I could totally feel it. It's very the grieving process and just the unknown of life could really get to you. But what I really got out of this program is like the portals of possibility and like really believing new things that could happen to you. And this could be a start of an amazing life anyone could have. Like I really do believe that. At least for me, I really do think this is like I call my new chapter a new beginning. So I really hope everyone out there like knows there's resources, and not make great grieving an issue. Because I always tell people that now grieving is normal, and we get to embrace the process, because you also get to learn so much about yourself that you don't realize. So yeah.
I love it. I kind of want to end all that with something that I went to my brother's graduation last week. So I was in California, and he has a roommate. His roommate is 96 years old, and her name is Marilyn. And
Wow.
she used to be a psychic, which I think is so cool. And I walk into the house and he's like, you have to meet Marilyn. And I'm like, oh, duh, obviously.
Of course.
So I sit down with his 96-year-old roommate, Marilyn, and we are talking about life and things. And I'm asking her all about her life because she has like the craziest life, and she has lived in California for so long and met so many movie stars and just done so much. And one of the quotes, I mean, she didn't, well, maybe if she was psychic, she knew that I was a breakup coach, but she didn't know that I was a breakup coach. And one of the things that she told me is she said, my life started when I got divorced. She's like, when I divorced my husband was the day that my life started. And I mean, it still just gives me chills thinking about that, because I totally get where she was coming from, right? Where I mean, she got married probably very young, had children, raised the children, didn't have a job, got divorced, and she did. She got to start her life where she got to be out on her own, live for herself. And I don't know, we've just been in this really like kind of phase with this cohort around talking about beginnings, and how even the ending of this program, or just like the graduation of the program, is truthfully also like another beginning of just getting started. Just like you would graduate a graduate program, you're not saying like, oh my gosh, I'm graduated and now I should be perfect and really good at everything that I do. It's that we're just getting started, and I get to start practicing this and making this into my career. And so it's like the same thing with the program. If you're just getting started, you're just getting to start building your bigger and better life and creating this second life or third life or fourth life, because I think I'm going to be having lots of different lives in this life. And it's just so exciting because it's a breath of fresh air.
Yeah, it takes the pressure off. Like it definitely takes the pressure off. And I loved that you said that, like when we were like approaching, yeah, like the program completing, it's like we get to take all this stuff that we learned, and like it's like we're starting something new.
We're going. I love it. Amazing. Thank you, ladies, so much for your time. I appreciate it. I know the Bravehearts listening and appreciate you. And I am so proud of you both.
Yay.
Thanks, Dorothy.
If you're loving the How to Get Over Your Ex podcast and you want to learn how to get over your ex in 3 months or less to build a life better than the one you thought you had with your ex, I would like to personally invite you to my next group course, where we take everything you've learned here on the podcast and apply it to your life. Come check it out at www.lifecoachdorothy.com.